Hello, YouTube. I'm going to talk about something I've been studying lately. And I think this is important. I think it's biblical, and I think people need to know about it. If you look in the book of Revelation, it talks about the waters of the world turning to the blood of a dead man. And the whore of Revelation, chapter 17, is dressed in purple and red. And if you study Esau, name Adam, the first man, his name means red because it's talking about red earth because he is taken from the earth. You have a great red dragon in Revelation chapter 12. Well, you also have in Revelation, it talks about that people's skin would be burnt and anybody at the mark of the beast would get sores on their skin. Revelation 17, 18, and 19 talks about the whore of Revelation, and I believe it's in 19. The whore of Revelation is destroyed and burn up in 1 hour. And that people stand afar off for fear of her burning. Okay, now, what does all this have in common? Okay, if you have a Strong's Concordance, if you look in 2 Kings 3:22, I want to make sure I'm saying the right verse here. Give me 1 second, okay? 2 Kings 3:22 should talk about blood if I'm looking at the right verse. And yeah. And they rose up early in the morning, and the sun shone upon the water, and the Moabites saw the water, and on the other side as red as blood. So it's talking about the sun, and it's talking about the water, and the water being red as the sun. Now, Genesis chapter 3, the serpent went to Eve, and he told her that if you eat of the forbidden fruit, your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And the word evil there is the Hebrew word Ra, R-A, which later on ended up being the name of the Egyptian sun god, Ra. All right? The sun god Ra, if you study it, goes all through history, even up to today. The things we talk about has to do with sun, and people don't even know it. Okay, just tons of things that, if you look in the English language, tons of things that have to do with sun god Ra. Okay, see in 2 Kings 3:22, the water looked as red as blood because of the sun. In Revelation, it says the seas would turn like red as the blood of a dead man, and everything in the oceans would die. Okay, the sun god Ra, R-A. You look in the dictionary, Ra is a symbol for radium. Okay, radium comes from radiation. The sun is radiation. Even sunlight is radiation. Now, Moses, when he wrote the book of Genesis, had no clue what radiation was. No idea. Satan, when he said, you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil, he knew what radiation was because he's very smart. God made him very smart. All right, now, if you look up the word atom, A-T-O-M, it means indivisible. Its Latin is atomus, Atomus. Greek is Atmos, indivisible. And then the dictionary says more at the word tome, Tome, which means cutting, meaning that it can't be cut. But later on, man learns how to split an atom. Okay, now how did he know to do this? Right now, I'm going to talk about that in a second. The word rad, R-A-D, is a measure of contamination by radiation. The word radical comes from the word rad, which they both come from the word Ra, the sun god. Radical, the Latin word for radical is radix, which means root. In 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, Paul said the love of money is the root to all evil. So the Bible here is connecting money and the love of money with the word radical, which comes from the word rad, which comes from the word Ra. So the love of money is the root to all evil. Now, if you look up the word root, it's number 4,491 in the Strong's Concordance. And it talks about anything rooted, a rooted object, as healthy. So it's saying the love of money is root to all evil. When people love money, the evil system is healthy. Now, you have an Egyptian god named Atum. They said that his main city of the cult of Atum was Heliopolis. Helio is a word that means sun. You look this up. You can look it up in the dictionary, okay? Helio, Helio. Look that up and you'll see it's connected to the sun. They taught that Adam was the first God that created himself, and he was sitting on a mound called a Benben. Now you have the Washington Monument, and at the top, there's a small pyramid right at the top, which is called a Benben. In the center of St. Peter's Square at the Vatican, you have the Cleopatra's Needle, which is the same thing as the Washington Monument. They're both symbols of the male organ. At the top is the Benben. You have Atom, which is related to radiation, because you have atoms that are split. And he's sitting on a Benben, and the Benben is on top of Washington Monument and Cleopatra's Needle at St. Peter's Square. St. Peter's Square at Easter, the reason it's called that, is the Pope would come out on the balcony where he speaks and looks out at the spring equinox, which means the day and the night, the days and nights are equal. Equinox means equal night. Equa means equal, and nox means night. And at sunrise, the sun will come up and touch the top of Cleopatra's Needle. Just like they said Adam sat on the Benben. Adam refers back to the radiation of the sun, and he's sitting on the Benben, looking toward the east for the sunrise was part of the worship of the sun god Ra and the sun god Adam. The sun god Ra and the sun god Adam are connected. Now, You have the color red. You have a red dragon. Revelation 12. Revelation 6, I believe verse 4, I think 4. You have a red horse, which I think is World War II. The color red there in Strong's Concordance, if you look in there, it's number 4,442 all the way through 4,451. And it means the color of fire, which again, fire refers back to the sun. Now, the people that worshipped this god Adam, the humans had no clue about an atom, about radiation, about nuclear fusion, about none of this stuff. So how did they know that Adam, they said that he was a product of energy and matter that came out of the water of chaos. That's what they said, that he was a product of energy and matter. Then you had later on in the 20th century, Albert Einstein said that energy and matter are the same thing. How did he know that? He knew that because it was demonically inspired. And then in the end times,
if you look in Egypt, when God poured the 10 plagues on Egypt, all 10 plagues had something to do with some of the gods they worshipped. And it was a judgment on their gods. The United States of America is Mystery Babylon the Great. The love of money is the root to all evil. The United States has brought the whole world together for the purpose of making money. The whole system, world system, is based on Genesis 3. And ye shall know good and evil. Ye shall know the sun god, Ra. That through this hidden occult knowledge and technology, man thinks he does not need God. Through sun worship, which refers back to Satan. Through the sun worship of following this hidden knowledge, this satanic hidden knowledge, to put together a system that man does not need God. God is going to judge the sun god. And the way he's going to do it is like this accident over in Japan that is polluting the entire world's oceans with radiation. There's numerous ways God will cause nuclear reactors all over the world to spill radiation into the oceans. Do it with earthquakes. He can do it with meltdowns because of the reactors not working correct, just all kinds of ways. It will cause sores to be on the people that take the mark of the beast. It will cause everything to die in the oceans, just like the book of Revelation says. And it will cause just major catastrophe all over the world. And it's because humans are following the sun god Ra, whether they even know it or not. Genesis 3. You shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Following the sun god Adam, the sun god Ra, they will enter into the color of fire. The oceans will look red because of the sun, just like in 2 Kings 3:22. And the whole world will be judged by this rad, the measure of contamination. Radical. Latin radix means the root to all evil. Ra, the sun god.